Spain are the world champions at last.
There are football stories that the world celebrates, and then there are stories the world refuses to believe. Morocco's journey in Qatar wasn't supposed to happen. At least that's what everyone kept saying. When they stunned Spain, people called it luck. When they knocked out Portugal, they said it was a miracle. When they became the first African nation in football history to reach a FIFA World Cup semi-final, the football world applauded them, but never truly respected them. Because deep down, many believed it was only a once-in-a-lifetime fairy tale, a perfect storm, a magical month, a lucky run that would never happen again. Even after pushing France to the absolute limit in the semifinals, even after dominating large parts of the game despite losing, the narrative never changed. Morocco had supposedly overachieved. The world moved on, but Morocco never did. For 4 long years, the Atlas Lions carried every criticism, every dismissal, every "they'll never do it again," every reminder that Africa was still supposedly far away from football's elite. Those words became fuel. Because while the football world forgot, Morocco remembered everything. And now, fate has delivered something nobody expected. 4 years later, the same nation, the same badge, the same dream, another World Cup. And waiting in the quarterfinals, France, the country that ended Morocco's greatest dream in 2022. Only this time, Morocco aren't coming to surprise anyone. They're coming for revenge. But reaching the stage wasn't supposed to happen either. In fact, before the tournament even kicked off, everything was falling apart. Just 3 months before the World Cup, Walid Regragui, the man who changed Moroccan football forever, the coach who united an entire continent, stepped down. The architect of the greatest African World Cup campaign in history was suddenly gone. For many nations, losing a legendary manager months before football's biggest tournament would have been a disaster. Panic would spread, confidence would disappear overnight. And that's exactly what happened. Experts immediately wrote Morocco off. Television pundits questioned the federation. Fans around the world believed Morocco had thrown away everything they had built since Qatar. But then, an unfamiliar name appeared: Mohamed Ouahbi. To casual football fans, he wasn't famous. He hadn't managed Europe's biggest clubs. He never coached in the UEFA Champions League. He wasn't the glamorous appointment people expected. And that's why almost nobody paid attention. What the world failed to understand was that Ouahbi had already been building Morocco's future long before he took over the senior team. Born in Belgium with Moroccan parents, he never enjoyed the spotlight as a professional footballer. Instead, he spent more than 20 years studying the game, learning it, obsessing over it, developing players instead of chasing headlines. 17 years at Anderlecht's renowned academy transformed him into one of Europe's most respected youth developers. Then, Morocco called, and everything changed. Rather than focusing only on today's stars, Ouahbi built tomorrow's. He transformed Morocco's youth system with discipline, fearlessness, and tactical intelligence. Then came 2025, the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile, a tournament that quietly announced something extraordinary to the football world. Spain fell, Brazil fell, France fell. Even Argentina, the kings of youth football, couldn't stop them. Morocco defeated Argentina 2-0 in the final to become FIFA Under-20 World Champions for the first time in history. It wasn't luck, it wasn't emotion, it was domination. That victory changed everything, because Ouahbi wasn't simply producing talented players, he was creating winners. So when Regragui stepped away, the federation didn't look outside, they looked within. Mohamed Ouahbi became Morocco's new head coach. His message to the players was remarkably simple: we are not underdogs anymore. Walk onto every pitch believing you belong. No fear, no excuses, no respect for reputations, only belief. And that mentality would immediately be tested. Morocco's World Cup group looked anything but comfortable. Brazil, Scotland, Haiti. One global giant, one dangerous European side, one fearless outsider. Many predicted Morocco would struggle just to survive. Instead, they reminded everyone exactly who they were. The opening match against Brazil wasn't a story of survival, it was a statement. For 90 relentless minutes, Morocco matched one of football's greatest nations blow for blow. Every tackle carried intent. Every press disrupted Brazil's rhythm. Every attack reminded the five-time world champions that this was no longer the Morocco of old. The match finished level, not because Brazil were generous, but because Morocco refused to be intimidated. Then came Scotland, a disciplined side known for intensity. Morocco dismantled them. Next came Haiti, another confident victory. 7 points, level with Brazil at the top of the group. The Atlas Lions advanced not through luck, but through consistency. Quietly, the world started paying attention again, but the biggest challenge was only beginning.
The round of 32, the Netherlands. A squad overflowing with stars from Europe's elite clubs. On paper, this wasn't supposed to be close. Yet Morocco had never cared about paper. They only cared about belief. The Dutch dominated possession early. The tempo was relentless. Every challenge echoed through the stadium, but Morocco never blinked. Ismael Saibari threatened. Neil Aynaoui came inches away. Hakimi unleashed thunder, yet Bart Verbruggen somehow kept everything out. At the other end, Yassine Bounou reminded everyone why he's one of the greatest goalkeepers of his generation. Save after save, moment after moment. The first half became a war of patience rather than goals, and Morocco were perfectly comfortable fighting that battle. Because they understood something many teams still hadn't learned. Football isn't always won by controlling the ball. Sometimes, it's won by controlling the moment. The second half opened with Morocco growing stronger. The Atlas Lions were beginning to believe this was their night. But football has a cruel way of testing belief. In the 71st minute, one Dutch attack, one quick combination, one precise finish from Cody Gakpo, and suddenly everything Morocco had worked for was slipping away. The scoreboard read, Netherlands 1, Morocco 0. Around the stadium, Dutch supporters erupted. The clock continued ticking. 75 minutes, 80, 85, 90. For everyone watching, the story seemed over. Except Morocco had lived this story before. They had spent years being told they weren't good enough, years being underestimated, years fighting impossible odds. Why would they stop now? Then, deep into stoppage time, one final cross floated into the Dutch penalty area. Time itself seemed to slow. Issa Diop rose above everyone. One header, one heartbeat, one unforgettable moment. The net exploded. Morocco had done it. 90+1. The Atlas Lions refused to die. And just like that, the impossible became possible once again. But their greatest test was still waiting. Football has a strange relationship with destiny. Sometimes it rewards the better team. Sometimes it rewards the bravest. And sometimes it rewards the team that simply refuses to surrender. After Issa Diop's dramatic equalizer in the 91st minute, the entire momentum of the match shifted. You could see it. The Dutch suddenly looked nervous. Morocco looked alive. Because every Moroccan player knew something the Dutch perhaps didn't. If this game reached extra time, it would become Morocco's kind of football. For over a decade, the Atlas Lions had built a reputation unlike almost any other nation. They could make the strongest teams uncomfortable. They could slow the rhythm, frustrate opponents, force mistakes, and mentally exhaust them before delivering the decisive blow. Spain experienced it in Qatar. Now, the Netherlands were about to experience it too. Extra time became a battle of willpower. Every tackle felt heavier. Every sprint became slower. Every decision carried the weight of an entire nation's dream. Yet Morocco continued creating the better opportunities. Soufiane Rahimi thought he had written the winning chapter, only for Bart Verbruggen to somehow produce one of the greatest saves of the tournament from point-blank range. The Dutch survived, barely. After another 30 exhausting minutes, nothing could separate the two sides.
Penalties. The cruelest test football has ever invented. 22 players, millions watching. The shootout immediately descended into chaos. Aynaoui missed. Advantage, Netherlands. Then Justin Kluivert struck the post. The pressure swung again. Soufiane Rahimi watched Verbruggen get a hand to his effort, but somehow the ball trickled over the line. Hakimi hit the post. Then came the defining image. Crescencio Somerville stepped forward needing to score. Yassine Bounou stood completely still. Bounou guessed perfectly. One hand, one save, one nation erupted. That left Ismael Saibari with the final responsibility. The ball flew into the corner. Game over. Morocco had eliminated another European giant. Not through luck, not through miracles, but because they believed they belonged. The football world had spent 4 years insisting Qatar was a coincidence. Now those arguments were beginning to disappear, because coincidences don't happen twice. If the victory against the Netherlands proved Morocco could survive, their next match proved they could dominate. Canada stood between the Atlas Lions and another historic quarterfinal. Playing in front of passionate home supporters, the Canadians entered the match believing their remarkable World Cup story could continue. The opening minutes certainly suggested that. Canada attacked with courage. They pressed high, created chances, forced Yassine Bounou into several important saves. For almost an entire half, Morocco looked unusually uncomfortable. Perhaps fatigue from the Netherlands battle had caught up with them. Perhaps the occasion was finally becoming overwhelming. But great teams don't panic, they adapt. And whatever Mohamed Ouahbi said inside that dressing room during halftime changed everything. Morocco walked back onto the pitch looking like a completely different side, sharper, faster, hungrier. Only 5 minutes after the restart, the breakthrough arrived. Hakimi stood over a clever free kick. Everyone expected a cross. Instead, he spotted Azzedine Ounahi waiting unmarked outside the penalty area. One perfectly weighted pass, one first-time finish, one goal. Suddenly, the entire match belonged to Morocco. From that moment onward, they controlled everything. Every pass carried confidence, every movement had purpose, every attack looked dangerous. Canada desperately searched for an equalizer, pushing more players forward. But that's exactly what Morocco wanted. Space. The Atlas Lions waited patiently, then struck with ruthless precision. Brahim Díaz surged down the right wing before sacrificing personal glory for something greater. Instead of shooting, he squared the ball to Ounahi. The midfielder didn't hesitate. A thunderous finish exploded into the roof of the net. 2 goals, 1 unforgettable performance. As the Canadian supporters fell silent, Soufiane Rahimi delivered the final blow in stoppage time, 3-0. No drama, no penalties, no miracle comeback, just complete control. 7 wins from their last 9 knockout matches at major tournaments. That isn't fortune, that is identity. But perhaps the most remarkable part of Morocco's journey isn't the results, it's the people achieving them. Look around this squad, the faces have changed. Several heroes from the unforgettable 2022 campaign are no longer here. Youssef En-Nesyri, Hakim Ziyech, Soufiane Boufal. Players who carried Morocco into football history, players every fan will forever cherish. Yet football waits for no one. A new generation has arrived. A generation raised on the belief that Morocco doesn't simply participate in World Cups anymore. They compete to win them. Young stars like Ayyoub Bouaddi, Neil El Aynaoui, Chemseddine Talbi, Ismael Saibari, alongside leaders like Hakimi, Brahim Díaz, Azzedine Ounahi, Soufiane Rahimi, and the ever-reliable Yassine Bounou, they have created something even more dangerous than the team that inspired the world in Qatar. Because this squad no longer carries the burden of proving they belong. They already know they do. That confidence changes everything. Mohamed Ouahbi understood one simple truth. He wasn't replacing the generation that made history. He was evolving it. The fearless teenagers he guided to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup title didn't grow up dreaming of reaching the semifinals. They grew up believing Morocco could become world champions. That's a completely different mentality. and mentality wins tournaments. Now, history offers Morocco something almost poetic. France again. The very nation that ended their dream in Qatar. The team that forced millions of Moroccans to watch their greatest football story end in heartbreak. For 4 years, that pain has never disappeared. Neither has the disrespect. People still call 2022 luck. They still question Morocco's place among football's elite. They still hesitate to mention the Atlas Lions alongside the traditional giants of the game. But football always gives you another opportunity, another 90 minutes, another chance to rewrite history. This quarterfinal is about far more than reaching another semifinal. It's about respect. It's about redemption. It's about proving that African football no longer asks for permission to stand among the world's best. It simply does. If France underestimate Morocco again, they may be walking directly into the biggest storm of this World Cup, because these Atlas Lions aren't carrying hope anymore. They're carrying belief, and belief is far more dangerous. Maybe the greatest mistake the football world ever made wasn't underestimating Morocco in 2022. Maybe it was believing that story had already reached its ending. Because legends don't disappear after one tournament. They evolve, they grow stronger, they return wiser. The Atlas Lions are no longer chasing history, they're defending it. And if the rest of the world still believes Morocco are simply another underdog, they may be about to witness one of the greatest acts of revenge football has ever seen. This isn't the same Morocco anymore. This is a nation that no longer dreams of shocking the world. They expect to conquer it. And if you love football stories where passion is stronger than reputation, where courage defeats fear, and where history is rewritten one match at a time, then you're already in the right place.